All right, guys, welcome back to the Buck Fever podcast. I am no longer solo this week. I've got Jake back on the podcast here. And we're going to talk a little bit about the upcoming gun season because I think Jake, especially, is pretty fired up for that to be coming up here because he's been tagged out for quite a while now. So he's going to be back behind the saddle and getting ready to shoot another one. So, yeah, if you want to kick it off, buddy, I guess you could start with this past week because you were hunting pretty hard even after the Minnesota trip, and you had a few things take place.
Yeah, I was gonna say tagged out, but still hunting just as much as I would if I did have a tag.
Right, right.
um, yeah. So the Minnesota trip, I guess we won't go too in depth in that. It was very fun times with everybody. Got our butts kicked, but still had a lot of fun and made a lot of good memories. So learned a lot. But so Noah and I came back Tuesday morning to hunt Wisconsin, and we almost got one there, which was pretty cool. We saw 3 bucks, two good ones, and one of those was really good. Um, 42 yards, just not a great shot opportunity, and kind of ambushed us from the back. Didn't think he was going to come from that way, and uh, I don't know. It was just a fun sit though. We had a good time.
Yeah.
So a lot of deer running around on your property, which is good.
Mm-hmm.
And then I headed over back to the farm to hunt the evening. And then I was going to be hunting Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, Saturday there. So 5 days there. And I didn't even take my bow out at all. I took my bow out once. I'll get to that. But so Tuesday night, my dad and I sat together. And I don't even know where we sat. Oh, we went way down again into our marsh and saw a couple bucks, a decent 2.5, and not much going on, some fawns. And the next morning was calling for rain like all day long. So my dad and I made some sandwiches, and we decided we were going to sit all day in our enclosed gun stand, which turned out to be really good. I mean, we were dry. We saw 7 bucks, no does, all bucks, and one of our shooters PT at like 60 yards, basically running off another 2.5, which was pretty cool to see. We could have shot a couple of those bucks actually. They were all very close to us, so we had a pretty good day. It was long 11 hours in the stand, but thankfully it's very roomy in there,
Hmm.
so you can kick back, take a snooze if you need to, or plus you get service too, so that makes the day go better.
For sure.
So yeah, that was a wrap. And then Thursday morning they were calling for super high winds, and so we were only going to hunt till like 10 o'clock at the latest and then head back because there was going to be gusts up like 40 miles an hour, and it's just basically pointless sitting in a tree in that. And that I may or may not have been taking a nap in the tree. I was getting burned out a little bit at a lot of 4 o'clock, 5 o'clock mornings, staying up way too late. And so we get into the stand along the field, and I hang another set because I only have doubles on certain ones. So I've been carrying around a stand and hanging it every morning, which
Yeah.
isn't a big deal. We've been getting pretty good at it, and Dad helps me. So we get in there, and the sun, I'm looking straight east. Sun's just beating on me. I'm all bundled up in my first light. Next thing you know, my eyes are closed. And in the group text, I didn't feel it because it was in my pants, in my big bibs. And my dad's like, Randy just shot one. I kind of like was half still asleep. Like, what? And we only saw one doe that morning, and we heard a bunch of grunting, but we just got out of there. We're like, first one in 40. His first one is with the bow ever. So we were just, everybody wanted to be there. Me and my dad, and then my other uncle who hunts 15 minutes away from us. He got down and came over, and we gave it almost, by the time we started looking, almost 2 hours. So I mean, it was plenty of time. And we get down there, and it took us like 5 minutes to find him. I mean, great blood trail, spraying blood. He made a great shot, and I was really, really glad I was a part of that. First buck ever with the bow, and he's been hunting for 40 years, and he's passed up a lot of deer, and he's just never really had the opportunities, I should say, like I've had, which I'm very thankful for. And I give him a lot of credit sticking that out and hunting for 40 years without shooting a buck with your bow. I mean, that not that he couldn't have, just that he was waiting for bigger ones and passing on littler deer and all that. So I give him a lot of credit. And he came away with a pretty cool buck. He's like 17 wide, a little busted up, broke, a little fighter, but it was awesome to be a part of. I'm so glad I was around for that. That was probably the highlight of the week, honestly.
Yeah, dude, that's pretty sweet.
Right. And then Thursday night, Dad and I went out again. We didn't see much. Friday comes and goes. I don't even remember what we saw. Nothing worth shooting. It was kind of slow, actually. So then Friday night, my dad went home because he had to go back to town to work at the pancake breakfast.
Yeah.
And I stayed up there. I'm like, yeah, what the heck? So I stayed up and I did some stuff around the farm. I went back and cleaned up, and I'm like, I guess I'll sit Saturday night. I don't have anything else going on. Might as well. Maybe I'll shoot a doe. And I head into the lounge, which I'm notorious for having pretty good luck in there.
Yep.
And it's pretty slow. I got a 2.5 come through at about 4:20, so like 40 minutes before dark. Closed at like right around 5, give or take. And all of a sudden, it's probably like 4:55. 5 minutes before closing, and I hear Brett, and walking. I'm like, oh boy. I don't even think I had an arrow knocked anymore. I think I was just like, well, I might as well get down now before they start coming out. And I was wrong. And this doe pops into the food plot right behind me. I'm like, oh, you're really big. And all of a sudden, I hear, Brett. I'm like, here we go. PT steps out, our target buck. I'm like, oh. So I'm sending videos to my dad and you. I'm like, I wish you were here tonight because we got to stand there. We sat there Thursday night together, actually. And so he comes out and he's chasing off this other buck who's grunting up a storm, which I think was the one I saw earlier. Like, he would not let him come into the food plot at all. Like, he was peeing on his hocks. He was making scrapes in the tree that I was in, which was really cool.
Wow.
And yeah, you stand like 10 yards quartering away, perfect shot. And I'm like, oh my gosh, it's a chip shot. So then I'm like, well, I can't get down now. I'm going to bust him. So I sit, I stay in there basically another half hour and wait till it gets dark before I get out of there. And then I'm thinking, like, he might charge me. He hears that because he doesn't know what I am.
Yeah.
Moving out of the woods, just booking it out of there. Then I get out and I headed home, and my dad, he hunted all day Sunday. Well, not all day, but Sunday morning, Sunday night, Monday night, and I think he saw like 2 deer. So obviously the weather has a factor. It was 60 degrees today, so that's obviously, I mean, I don't know if it's going to save a lot of deer or get a lot more killed if more people are going to go out. I mean, they're calling 50 for a high and 49 on Saturday and Sunday with lows in the 27s and 31. So
right.
Sunny all, which is going to be nice to sit in, but.
Yeah, I don't know. I'm kind of looking forward to it. I've definitely sat through some pretty crappy gun season openers, so I'll take 50 and sunny, I guess, in that regard.
Right. Yeah, I got absolutely hammered with snow last year. Just ate it all day long, so that was cool.
Yeah.
No, I got second pick this year, and we there's no real order. There's no set order we do for gun season because there's 6 of us who go, so it's hard to like say who gets to who just gets first pick and all that. So we do like we draw names. We have my grandma pick out of a basket, and my uncle's got the first pick and I got second. So now I'm not really sure where to go. Depends on what he picks, but we're seeing this buck on both sides of our property. There's a road that goes through it, so I'm a little torn on where to go. But
what do you think the conditions are going to be like as far as deer? I mean, you kind of mentioned you're not sure what the weather's going to do, but it's only a couple days away. I mean, do you think it's going to be still kind of the same that you've been seeing, where they're chasing and running bucks off, grunting?
I think it's still a little bit of a rut going on. I don't know. It's been one weird year. I don't even know how to describe. It's been really weird.
Yeah.
But I think with the weather, I mean, it's going to be frosty in the morning. Looks like it. Saturday morning, 30 degrees. They might be moving, but I think middle of the day is not going to be fun to sit. I don't know what you guys do, but we sit all day opening day just because you never know. I mean, 10 o'clock when the neighbors get antsy and they walk around is when you have a good chance of killing deer. But it just makes for a long day when you don't see deer, you know, from 8 o'clock till 4 o'clock.
Right. No, I hear you. Yeah, I mean, I think it's going to be, like you said, frosty in the morning. So I think opening morning is going to be as good a time as any. It's going to be a lot of pressure in the woods, though. Those deer might start to hunker down pretty quick. But then, like you said, neighbors get up and start walking around midday. It's not bad. I mean, and we've still had some midday bucks moving around over the past couple weeks with the rut. And like still this week or this past weekend, we were getting pictures at like noon. So, and we didn't
Right.
have any before that. Like, from shooting light until noon, nothing. And then we'd see a picture of a shooter walking by a camera at noon, and then wouldn't really hardly see anything that afternoon either. So it's
Right.
it's yeah, it's probably one you got to sit in. Luckily, it's not going to be the worst weather, so manageable. But
Right.
like you
Oh,
said, if you're not seeing anything, that gets a little bit tough.
it does, but it's also just, it's opening day. It's not like we're going to go and do it Sunday and then every day we hunt. So,
Yeah, yeah. And you're usually your opening days are pretty decent.
yeah, especially on one side of the road where it overlooks that big field, there
Yep.
may anywhere from 0 to a 30. So,
And you've killed a couple on opening day.
yeah, I think all the three I've killed with the gun bucks opening day have um, been opening day. So,
Yeah, all on that same side of the road.
um, two where one was on the other side.
Okay.
Two were up in that field that I'm talking about.
Yep. Yep.
Uh, One was, yeah, they were both really early in the morning too, chasing does actually.
Yeah. Yeah. That makes sense. You excited to have your 270 back instead of the muzzleloader you had to lug around in Minnesota?
I mean, it would have been really fun to shoot one with it. I'm definitely not counting it out, but I feel a lot more deadly with the 270.
Yeah, I hear you.
I got 5 shots and that thing, that kitty purrs. So I love the 270 actually.
Yeah.
I've
No.
never really stretched it out either. I've never had to, thankfully, but I wouldn't be afraid to.
Right. Yeah, I know.
Oh,
Go
you're
ahead.
rocking rocket of a 30-06 you got. I mean, that thing.
Yeah, that'll. I'm hoping to put it to the test this year. I had it last year, but didn't shoot anything. So
I
maybe.
think you're gonna kill one over that field this year. Like if you sit there, like we talked about.
Yeah, that'd be sweet. I don't know if I talked about it last week. Um, the new development we had there, getting permission to hunt over a neighboring field. There's kind of a farm field and ag field that butts up to our property, and then just a tiny stretch of woods that runs along it, and then you get up to the river, and somebody else owns that. And so this year we got permission to walk in along that property, but didn't have permission to hunt it or anything. Well, my dad did some more digging and got us permission to be able to hunt over that field and actually those woods too. So we kind of have permission now to hunt that whole extra little chunk. And so that field, especially, we've got a stand that overlooks all that, and that's where you and I sat, and we saw those 3 bucks all out in that field. And I could have had my pick of the litter with a gun in my hand. It just so
Oh yeah,
happens that with a bow, obviously you need a lot of things to go right, but like you said, you can definitely stretch that out quite a bit with a gun. So I think the plan might be to sit there opening day. I'm going to see if Ben wants to sit with me. So we might just sit there together. And I don't know, like we said with Minnesota, and then coming back, how the standards had kind of dropped a little bit. Yours, I'm sure, are going back up, but for me, I don't know, man. I might just be looking to shoot something.
I mean, I think you got a lot of good deer on there. You're gonna be in a good position to kill some big deer. I don't blame you though. If I'd whack a doe, I'm definitely whacking a doe for sure because we got a doe pool going on, biggest doe. and no one shot one last year, so it's got some change in there, and
Oh,
we've got
really?
a. Oh yeah, we decided to switch it. Make it a little more fun. We always have a buck pool, but we figured putting a doe pool in would really, not that it's a huge deal, but really make you think about shooting a doe before you shoot, because it's starting to get that time where those fawns are darn near as big as some of those younger does and stuff. So
Yep.
mostly just the nubbies is what you don't want to shoot them, and we got a couple of just massive ones. So I think
Yeah.
putting this doe pool out makes you think twice before you shoot and make sure you're shooting a big one. Not that we care too much. Whatever. The doe I shot this year with the bow wasn't giant by any means, but um, puts a little fun into it too. Um,
Yeah, that's a cool aspect. So do you will shoot a doe like opening morning?
Depends where I sit. If I
Okay.
sit on the east side of the road where it's a field, probably.
Okay. Because I feel
If
like
they come up, not moving or running and just kind of feeding, and I get a good shot. Yeah, but if I sit on that other side where it's marshy, I'm not gonna shoot one opening in the morning and then trounce around down there. And
right.
uh,
I feel like we're always kind of afraid to, even though like hunting over a field, if you shot one and dropped it right there in the field, you're not going to mess up much of the woods. But just taking that shot, I feel like we've always been like, well, first person to fire a shot in the morning, the hunt's going to be over. And
you know,
maybe,
I think about that, but I don't. I don't know. We've done that before. Like when I shot that buck, both those bucks, it was real early, and we sat till 9 o'clock both times, and we saw plenty of deer after that.
yeah.
They're just used. It's just a quick loud noise that it doesn't really phase them too much.
Right. I mean, how much do you think they can really pinpoint that even?
Yeah, I don't know. It might just sound like a boom, and then they're kind of like, "Oh, what was that?" and then go on with their day. It's no different than a truck driving by or something like that, something loud, or a truck with a loud exhaust or anything like that, like that.
Right. Because we've always sort of linked on our property, anyways. You can, I mean, it's a measurable decline. Opening day of gun season, we'll see some deer, and then every day after that, it drops off significantly to the point where, you know, like Monday, we could sit all day and not see a deer. And I don't know if that's the noise aspect of it or just the pressure aspect of it in general, like people walking through the woods and bumping deer. I think maybe when it comes to gun season, people don't necessarily take it as seriously. They're not worrying so much about their scent control. They're not worrying so much about bumping deer on the way into their stand. I feel like people are a little bit more reckless when it comes to gun season than like the die-hard bow hunters who do everything in their power not to pressure these deer. And I think when gun season rolls around, for a lot of people, that just goes right out the window. And so I think they feel that maybe more so than the loud noise. I mean, when you and I were in Minnesota, we'd be hearing gunshots, and sometimes we would think they came from different directions. Sometimes we couldn't exactly tell how far it was. You know, somebody would crack a shot, and you maybe wouldn't even hear it necessarily. Like, I don't know. I feel like deer maybe can't necessarily pin that down so much. They're hearing gunshots, but I don't think they can pick out exactly which tree it came from.
I'd agree with that, and about the term. I use this term loosely, the Orange Army, but because I'm not going to fault anyone for getting out hunting, even if that's all you do is gun hunt. But I agree that, um, you know, yeah, you're saying the diehard bow hunters like us who we go in certain ways, watch the wind, all that. It does get thrown out the window, but it's Wisconsin. It's more of a tradition, more than anything. Actually, it's almost like a national holiday.
Right. Yeah, for sure. It's not. I'm not saying anything bad about it, but if I'm bow hunting and I bump a deer on my way into my stand, I will literally like be broken up about it. Like I will be legitimately upset. And I feel
Right.
like, people during gun season, it's like, just get to the stand with your heater and your little Debbies and don't worry about bumping them on the way in. They'll come back at 200 yards and, we'll shoot them through the shoulders and drop them right there and we'll be, well on our way. So I don't know. I think everybody just kind of doesn't care about that so much. And the deer really, really can feel that because it's so sudden. It just, all of a sudden, one day, it just happens. And I think it almost like shocks them, is what I would say. because it's not like a gradual thing. It's just all of a sudden opening day rolls around, and like you said, it's an orange army. There are, I don't know what the numbers are. I want to say it's hundreds of thousands. It's either 500,000, 800,000, something like that, that are out there hunting on opening day in Wisconsin.
Oh, for sure.
It's crazy. So I think that just literally shocks their system, and they just shut down, go nocturnal, and that's it. At least that's what we see on our property.
Yeah, I mean, obviously, opening day is the best chance you're going to get at them. And then, we go back out the second weekend. We hunt usually Thursday, Wednesday, maybe Wednesday, but mostly Thursday, Friday, Saturday. And it's a little different. You start to see a little more deer, and they kind of start getting more comfortable again. But that Monday, Tuesday is pretty bare. We really don't see a lot of deer.
How long do you give it before you do drives around your property?
Saturday, the second Saturday. Before I started hunting, my grandpa and uncles and dad, they used to drive like Thursday, Friday, Saturday. And they had good luck, actually. It kind of surprises me, but yeah, they drove a lot.
Right. It's definitely a tactic that gets deer up on their feet, that's for sure. But you start trouncing around through some of those core bedding areas, and there's nothing that's going to make deer go nocturnal faster than that, in my opinion.
And it's more so now that we just don't have a lot. Not everybody's up there to do it the other days, even if we wanted to.
Right.
I just don't have the manpower to do it.
Yeah.
Which by me, because I'd rather just save it for one day, like you said.
Yeah, for sure. I know you've bumped. I mean, like when you guys do the drives, I think we had it in a video last year or the year before or something. I mean, you see plenty of deer. Sometimes they get shot.
Yeah, we killed one last year off the drive.
Yeah, that's what I thought.
Plenty of bucks actually off drives. Good ones too.
Yeah.
It's just a different tactic, Like, and some people, they might not agree with it, but for the most part, it's been very humane. Like, we don't ever, wound one or anything. You know what I mean? We're not just shooting everything that moves.
Right. Still taking good shots, passing them up when you don't have one, but yeah, no, it's gonna be a good time. Are you off the whole week or no?
No, I gotta work.
Okay.
I'm off Wednesday or Thursday, Friday. I took off. Well, obviously we're always off for Thanksgiving, but I took off Friday.
Sure.
I'm pretty sure the whole shop's off, but
yeah, that's not bad. That gives you a little bit of a chance then. So I don't know what the other guys. I don't know what their plan is. I don't think they're off the whole week. Maybe. I don't know. Haven't really talked to them, but I know they'll be itching to get out there. I mean, they've had a bunch of encounters and a couple shots fired. I know there was some action this past weekend. Was it this weekend? Was it Sunday? Saturday. Yeah, we did have another buck hit the ground there. I think it was posted to our Facebook account, so I don't believe it's necessarily a secret. But we had another buck hit the ground. Eli connected with one on their property in Wisconsin, so he's got his bow tag tagged out just in time for gun season. So that will be another video that'll be coming out in the near future. And we just had one released earlier this week that was of Colby's buck that he shot in Minnesota. So lots of content coming out. Hopefully some good stuff to come from gun season here. And, hopefully we can get those guys on the podcast at some point, kind of share some of those stories that we've been missing over the past couple weeks. But, yeah, looking forward to it. Anything else you want to say, buddy?
No, I'm just excited. Get out there, be safe, have fun. Like I said, for me, it's more of the hanging out with all my cousins and my uncles and just having fun. So
yeah, that's a good thing to touch on. That's the aspect of gun season that really carries the tradition, and that's so different. You don't always get that with the archery season, But gun season is, the epitome of deer camp. Everybody hanging out, having a true deer camp, and that definitely elevates the fun.
For sure. And that's mostly what I look forward to. I'm a diehard bow hunter. I'd rather take my bow any 9 times out of 10. Don't get me wrong, I still love shooting deer with the rifle, and I get just as excited, but there's just something more with the bow. So the gun season is more of a camaraderie thing. I love it. I eat it up. Love being with everybody and just having fun telling the same stories every year. Never gets old no matter how many.
Yeah, no, I agree 100%. Well, yeah, on that note, everybody have fun this weekend. Be safe, and good luck to everybody. We're going to be looking forward to getting those texts coming through and seeing pictures on Facebook and whatever, people posing with their bucks going down. So that's always a good time. And hopefully we'll have a couple pictures of our own to bring you guys as well. So thank you guys for tuning in, and we will see you guys next time.